For the grand finale of the One-Up Winter Classic, we bring you the A-Main feature, 100 laps of no-holds-barred racing action for the top 25 drivers. We entered this competition with 60, and now we only have less than half that to contest 100 high-stakes laps around this dirt track. That's going to be a lot of fun. The Oswego Speedway never disappoints us, and here we are for the final showdown, the A-Main feature of the One-Up Winter Classic. And alongside me in the booth to bring you the action is Duke Anzac once again, and what more do I need to say? These are the best drivers we've handpicked from the selection that have joined us, and now they're getting ready to do battle for 100 laps to see which one will reign supreme.
Yeah, you're right. These are the best of the best here. Every single one of them advanced from the top five of their heat race, their 25 lap heat race, so long ago. And they and then of course there's the five at the back of the pack that have just raced 50 laps in the B main and have advanced from that to make it into the A main. And this thing is a 100 lap race, so I'm not ruling anybody out of this one. What we saw in the B main was that those drivers that started in the back from the C main were not able to get to the front in time to be able to make it into the top five. However, with an additional 50 laps in this race, I think that is absolutely in play. All those drivers in the back have an extra 50 laps of track time here that these other drivers didn't get. So they're definitely in play. But those guys that are starting up front, Stevenson, Bolton, Sanders, Breeding, all those guys won their heat races. And this is going to be a lot of fun to watch them compete, to watch everybody between those guys compete, and see who comes out on top at the end of it. This is the moment we've all been waiting for this week. The final race, the A main. This is going to be a lot of fun.
And you're absolutely right. Those guys at the front, they won their heat races. We can now look at the starting lineup to say Cam Stevenson on pole position, Jeff Bolton, Lane Sanders, Nick Breeding, they all won their heat races, so they start in the first two rows. And I honestly think of those four, I think that 87 is going to be tough to beat. He led every lap of his heat race from start to finish, but of course, and he's in that prime third position where we've seen people jump the leader pretty much every race we've run here. So that 87 is going to be a force to be reckoned with, but we've got a lot of big names starting further back. You got Polanski in 9th, Hutchinson, McDonald 10th and 11th. You have Alexa Lucian back in 17th, two-time defending superstar champion Christian Vargas back in 19th. Like you said, there's plenty of time to make your way from the back to the front here, so any of those guys could be contenders.
You're totally right, and I don't think that there is a single person on this list that I can count out of this race. I mean, every single one of these drivers obviously finished in the top five of some event in order to advance to this race, and it has been a lot of fun to watch these guys drive, and I think that this race is going to be probably the best that has come so far here at Oswego.
So with that being said, for 100 laps for the final time in the One-Up Winter Classic, the field's all lined up. We're ready to bring you the action. It's the One-Up Winter Classic A-Main feature, and the green flag is mere moments away. This is it, the A-Main feature, and we are underway for 100 laps. Cam Stevenson dives it off into the first corner with the lead, but watch out for that 87, going to make a big move going into 3, I imagine, and he's not even wasting any time making it happen.
Yes, and remember how good Sanders was in that heat race starting from that third place. He's on the bottom lane right now, trying to work on Cam Stevenson, who's on the outside lane. Man, they are all packed all together right up front here, and the 87 is looking like he's going to have a shot at taking the lead, but the 07 is going to be on the bottom as well. Not going to be enough from him, and now Sanders takes the lead in that Mountain Dew 87 car, and man, it's going to be tough to pass him back. They better do it quick if they're going to attempt, because right now that 87 is really fast.
Yeah, absolutely. Sanders had a fantastic heat race, and he's got the A-Main off to as good a start as you could hope for in that 87, but he's facing a little pressure from that 07 of Will Harrison in that Oracle machine trying to make something happen. But here comes that unmarked car of the 861 Stanley Andrews. He has not made a one-up start at all, and he's challenging Sanders for the lead on only lap number 4.
Yeah, he just moved into second place with a lot of ease. I mean, he just drove down there to the bottom and immediately got that spot. So now he is going to have a shot at taking the lead here. He's in second place. Now the 87 has not started to pull away, and this is dangerous right here. 3 wide out of the corner, a little bit of contact. Everybody holds on to it. Wow, that was close between those 3 drivers, and it's going to be close again coming out of the corner.
And we know Jared Polanski's not willing to waste any time trying to get to the front. He hasn't won anything in a long time, and he'd love to be the first to win a Winter Classic. But he's got two fast cars to pass first. He's all the way up to third. Started this race back in ninth. He's passed a car every lap, but I don't think he will this time around because that 861's making some gains. And how about Mac Johnson in the 55 with RFJ behind him? They're making gains as well.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, Will Harrison was really looking good. He was up front, and now he has fallen way back. I hope that car is okay. I think he might just be stuck way on the outside lane right there, getting passed by everyone and falling back. But yeah, right up here, look at how tightly wound this top group of cars is. They're all right with each other. This is in stark contrast to what we saw in the 87's heat race because he pulled away in that, and now he is not able to get away from the 861 right here of Andrews, who is just hounding him for that top spot.
One driver to keep our eye on is that blue and red number 50 back there, Alexa Luschan. She started all the way back in 17th, and it's only taken 10 laps to move up into almost the top 5 position. So Luschan having a strong run in that 50 car. We'll see if she's got anything for Lane Sanders up at the front, but she's got to get there first, and there's a lot of hungry drivers right in front.
Yeah, everyone in this race got the memo and had watched all the heat races, and they watched both the C main and the B main, and they understood the assignment, which was that track position is going to be king in this race. Despite being a dirt race, despite being a short track, you have to have good track position, especially coming out of that first set of laps. And right now the 861 is trying to improve his. He is Andrews on the bottom, trying to make the move for the lead.
Here comes Stanley Andrews on Lane Sanders. Down the back straightaway they go. Side by side into turn 3. It's going to be a close shave, but I think Andrews is going to get there. Off of turn 4, the 861 to the lead, and Andrews takes the lead for the first time on lap 13.
A great move, a well set up pass. He had planned it down the straightaway. He made the move down into the corner, got beside him on the next straightaway, and then finished the move off in the next corner. It's a full lap that it takes to make the pass, and here now we're going to get to see Lane Sanders do the same thing. So he sets up that pass here. He's on the bottom lane. Now he's going to be beside him down the straightaway. He's a little bit ahead as well, so he's going to send it down into here. He should be able to slide up in front of Stanley Andrews and take that lead back, and now he's got a bigger gap than he has had so far in this race. Very well done. And here is Alexa Luschan in third place, who, like you said, came all the way up from 17th starting position. This car is one that is really, really fast right now.
And Christian Vargas back there, you see in that orange and white number 54, making gains. And how about Austin Zorgan, the B-main winner? Now, it's only taken 17 laps for him to break into the top 10. He's now working on Ricky Freeman Jr. for that 7th spot. A phenomenal run for this 44 bunch.
Yeah, Zorgan is not leaving anything on the track right now. That car is bad fast, and he is moving along. He's about to try to pass Cam Stevenson, who is our pole sitter in this race and has fallen back to 6th place in this one. And here's Alexa Luschan. We were only away for about a lap off this camera shot, and now Luschan is going to take the lead and will take it away down the back straightaway. So this is an amazing change of events. Alexa Luschan is out front now, but you gotta watch out because they're getting close. There's a little bit of contact between the two of them. My goodness.
From 17th starting spot, it only took Alexa Luschan 20 laps to get the lead. That is a statement from that 50 car. But Lane Sanders has had one of the fastest cars all week here. So it's probably going to come down to these two. Maybe Stanley Andrews can stick his nose in there a couple times. And maybe if Austin Zorgan can get a move on, he can challenge as well. But I really think it's going to be a battle between the 87 and the 50 for this A-main win.
Yeah, it's pretty early in this race to be to be seeing who the favorites are, but definitely right now the 50 car looks absolutely amazing, and the 87 obviously able to hold off the 50 is doing just as well, if not a little better. So yeah, these drivers are doing great. There's Austin Zorgan now in the outside lane, trying to make a move on Ricky Freeman Jr. in the 10 car, and it's not going to be enough. There's Christian Vargas, who started in 19th today, who has been moving up through the field nicely as well. We're only a lap 23. I mean, these guys have been hard charging all day so far. Will they be able to make it last throughout the entirety of this race? I'm not sure. But right now, these guys are putting on an absolute show.
Because remember, we don't expect these guys to need to take on fuel. They've fueled these cars enough for the entire 100 laps. And you got to hope that those tires make it the entire way, because you're burning a lot off those tires. Even if you're on a dirt surface like this one, those tires are putting over a lot of pain and a lot of effort. But it's working a treat for Austin Zorgan. He's up to 6th, and Lane Sanders, who's leading. But for these guys at the back, not so lucky. Look at how far back Will Harrison has dropped.
Yeah, I wonder if there's something wrong with that car, because we saw him falling back, dropping like a rock in a pond, and just has fallen all the way down to the bottom now, and that's just a tough situation there.
And here's Nick Breeding, who won his heat race. He started 4th, and now he's all the way back to in a battle for 18th spot.
Yeah, we also saw that 9 car back there started in 10th position. Justin Hutchinson having a bad start to this race as well. So a lot of these drivers have fallen to the back. This has been the story of every single race this week. We saw people that we were expecting to do really well fall all the way to the back early in these things, and now we're seeing it once again here in the AMA.
But we're about a quarter of the way.
So meanwhile, that's my bad.
Yeah, we're talking over each other. The action's so intense. We're just past a quarter distance here in the A-Main feature. Lane Sanders has enjoyed the lead for much of the action, with brief intermissions by Stanley Andrews and Alexa Lucian, who run 2nd and 3rd. And they've started to pull away a bit from Jared Polanski and Mac Johnson in the 55, who are running 4th and 5th. So I think it's going to be, unless Zorgan can get up there, and maybe Vargas, I think it's going to come down to these 3.
You're right. This group of 3 that I'm just so excited to talk about, they absolutely have been pulling away. And they've been led almost this whole time by Lane Sanders in that 87 car, who hasn't pulled away like we saw in the heat race, which is still worth mentioning, but has been leading the way the whole time, and has been able to defend that position very well so far. We'll see what happens once it gets more desperate later in this race for these guys who are in 2nd and 3rd, and we'll see what happens once we get to that point. But for now, that 87 is looking really good and still is out front.
Yeah, and Andrews and Lucian now battling side by side for the 2nd spot. Lucian might be trying to pull a double move here on Andrews and Sanders. Lucian diving it off into the corner on the bottom of the racetrack. That's where every single pass this whole week has come from, on that bottom. And Lucian already alongside the 87 trying to take the lead away.
Yeah, and look at that. It's definitely going to work out of this corner. Going to be clear is that 50 car into the front spot now. So move Alexa Lucian to the front. And
they bang wheels. They make contact. Sanders and Lucian. This is close quarters racing at its finest. Sanders doing everything he can to take the lead back from Lucian, and it looks like he's going to do it with a bit of contact.
Oh boy. That's what we've been saying this whole time. No holds barred. Everything is on the line right now, finally in the A main, and everybody's putting their cars on the line to try to make it happen here. And right now, Lane Sanders does not want to ride behind anybody. He wants to be leading this group, wants to be dictating the pace and looking at a clean track ahead. So right now, the 87 still under fire, but is leading the way so far.
And can you ever really have a clean racing surface in front of you at a place like this? But in all seriousness, we have a serious battle for the lead on our hands between Lucian and Sanders up at the front, with Andrews playing the support role in 3rd. And don't look now, but Polanski's actually starting to gain a little bit of ground on these guys.
Yeah, well, while they're beating and banging for the lead, I mean, you have to expect a lot of these drivers, or man, and they almost did again. But you have to expect a lot of these drivers who are a little bit farther behind are going to be allowed to kind of gain some position here on these leaders. So now Alexa Lucian clear for the lead, and we haven't seen that last for long every other time that it's happened. But maybe this will be the standout situation with Alexa Lucian possibly being able to hold on to the lead. We'll see what happens with Lane Sanders sitting in second place now.
Yeah, that's not where Lane wants to be running, but he's got to refocus. He's got to settle in. Lucian is definitely a fast contender, but he did not lead every lap of that heat race by chance. He's got probably one of the two fastest cars here along with Lucian, and they're just putting on an absolute show. Because I believe Austin Zorgan is stalled out at about 7th place, and Christian Vargas is no longer in the top 10. So I think it's honestly going to come down to these guys for the win, especially as Andrew starts to fall off a little bit.
You're right about Zorgan. He made a really hard charge up through the field. He started 21st, and then he made it all the way up into 6th place, but then got passed again by Ricky Freeman Jr. and has just stayed there so far. Unlike starting in 17th, Alexa Lucian made it all the way up to the front and is now leading the way. So I definitely agree. Lucian has one of the fastest cars. Lane Sanders has one of the fastest cars. And, of course, Stanley Andrews has been sitting in 3rd for the whole time. So it's going to come down to those guys, I believe. But we're only about halfway through this thing, so it is far, far from over.
Yeah, and how about the Russian rocket, Dmitry Bortnik, making gains? He started in the midfield. He's now up into the top 10, just ahead of defending superstar champ Christian Vargas in the 54. So Vargas has got his hands full with this rookie who's had a very good heat race and hasn't put a foot wrong all week.
No, absolutely hasn't, and I love that nickname, the Russian Rocket. That is absolutely a fantastic nickname right now, and it bodes completely true for that driver who is absolutely putting on a show. And here's that 88 car of Nick Breeding, who hasn't exactly done what we expected in this race, and we're going back through the field right now. There's the 777, who started in 25th in this race and has moved up ahead of Cam Stevenson, who started on the pole.
Yeah, not a good run for Cam Stevenson, but this is his first race weekend of any kind. He'll acclimate, I'm sure, pretty quickly. Back to Stojanovic, Ryan Soper's back here, Kenneth Grant, Corey Hayes, and Ben McDonald running out the top 20. Bit of a surprise to see McDonald back here. He's one of the best drivers we have in one-up competition. But like Justin Hutchinson, he's just not had a break tonight.
Yeah, and then here is the 212 car of Hayes, who started in 12th in this race, now down to 19th, and we go back even farther as well. So this is, these guys are all in a situation where they're struggling to stay, and they're making a little bit of contact with each other, racing in the back. It just shows they're having fun out here, but. Yeah, definitely a struggle so far in this race for all these drivers who are in the back, and then especially that one right there, Will Harrison, who started all the way up in 5th place, finished 2nd in the first heat race, and then has fallen all the way to dead last in this one. But Alexa Lucian leads the way after starting 17th. We've had our share of people who started in the back and moved to the front, and then those who started in the front got out of the way and moved all the way to the back. For those who are coming up. So, yeah, Alexa Lucian leads the way. Lane Sanders is laying back right now. Hasn't had an opportunity to regain that lead, but is staying in close proximity to Alexa Lucian just in case the time comes to pounce and gain the lead back.
And one thing to note while we were going through the field, Jared Polanski was running in 4th spot for much of that first stint, has now fallen all the way back to 7th behind Austin Zorgan. That bumps Mac Johnson up to 4th, Ricky Freeman Jr. up into the top 5. So now, got a little bit of variety up at the front, and speaking of up at the front, Lane Sanders is on a mission. He wants that lead back.
Yeah, he absolutely does. He's getting a little antsy, you can tell, based on the slide of that car coming through the corners, putting up a lot of dust in the air. But yeah, going to the bottom, both of them are going to the bottom on the entry of the corner. That's just that's possibly going to be the fastest way around this track. We haven't gone this far. We're in untouched territory for everyone now in this field. The longest race we've had on this track for the whole week is a 50 lapper, and that was the B main. So now that we've surpassed that point, we're in unknown territory. We're not sure how this track is going to react. We're not sure how the cars are going to react, the drivers, the tires. Lots of unknowns at this point in the race. Only a little bit over halfway through, but we can see the people that are likely going to be battling for it at the end. And we'll see. Maybe somebody in the top 10 has been saving their stuff a little bit. Maybe that's what happened to Austin Zorgan. He decided he got up far enough, and he's going to save his stuff for the end of this race. We'll see what happens. Lane Sanders, though, is starting to knock on the door, going to the bottom in almost every corner, nearly able to get up beside Lucian on the straightaways. Right here, this is going to be good, and there's contact.
Wheel-to-wheel contact between Lucian and Sanders for that position. That knocked Lucian off the track a little bit. That might allow Sanders some breathing room on the bottom, but he has to tuck back in line behind the 50. This is a great battle, and we're closing in. We've got about 40 laps to go in the A-main. There's still plenty of racing left to do.
Yeah, this has been an amazing battle that these two have had. There's been a lot of contact between them as well on multiple occasions, but they have not crashed yet, and we'll see if there is a crash. And, you know, if there isn't, I'm not sure. I can't really tell if it'll happen or not, but who knows? Maybe lap traffic could become involved in this as well, and that could wreak havoc for these guys in the top of the field. So we'll see what happens there. But Lane Sanders has started to fall back a little bit in second place after that contact. Hopefully that vehicle is all right after that wheel-to-wheel contact.
Looking further back, you see Kodiak Keene in the 666 racing Nick Breeding and Christian Vargas. This is the battle for the 11th position on the racetrack. Breeding starting to make his way back up to the front. He started 4th, drifted all the way back as far back as 18th. Now he's back up to 11th after making little contact with the superstar champ Vargas. We'll see how far he can climb from here. Now he's got Bortnick up next. This 88 starting to find its groove, but still plenty of way to go to make him back to where he thinks he should be.
Yeah, definitely, you know, and we do have a lot of racing left to go in this one, but a little bit too little, too late, possibly for.
And now we've got a change for second position. Stanley Andrews inserting his name back in the conversation. He's gotten by Lane Sanders, moved up into second spot. Now he's chasing after Alexa Lucian. We'll see what he can do from there. This guy's got no experience in one-up competition, and now he's racing for the win in the A-main against the Nitro National winner and a Daytona 500 champion.
Yeah, I mean, this is absolutely incredible. These Stanley Andrews is putting on a show. Was able to gain a lot of time while Lane Sanders and Alexa Lucian were beating and banging with each other, but now has fallen back to third place. Lane Sanders has gotten back around. So that isn't going to help his case very much, but Stanley Andrews, very, very impressive here in the second half of this race to stay with these two leaders and even make a move for second place. I think that Stanley Andrews might have something to say before it's all said and done.
And remember, Lane Sanders won in his Superstar Series debut a few years ago. He won the Daytona 500 the year after. He knows how to start a year off with a bang, and he's doing a very good job of that. Could he win his first big race for the third time in 4 years here at the Winter Classic? We're about 30 laps away from finding out, but right now he's got a big hurdle in Alexa Lucian to get by.
Yeah, this is a big stage, absolutely made for people to make their name known, put themselves on the map, and I think that we've got a lot of people that are going to be talked about quite a bit after this series of races that we've had here at this track, so at Oswego. And you know, it's just been a lot of fun to watch these guys race in such a unique and different discipline than is typical for what we have in one-up competition. You know, we've only ever had a handful of dirt races to this point, and of course never have raced in a vehicle quite like this. So This has just been really fantastic to watch these drivers put on such a great show all throughout the heat races and all the mains, and then now, of course, in the A main, we've had a fantastic race for the lead between these 2 and 3 drivers up towards the front.
Bit of a shout out to Ricky Freeman Jr. Quiet day in the top 5, a very solid outing for him in that 10 car. But back out front, it continues to be Alexa Lucian. We're entering the final quarter of this race, and the whole field separated by about 10 seconds. I don't know if they're going to have lap traffic come into play yet, but if they do, we might have our first caution of the night, because slow cars getting caught by fast cars, that usually means only one thing.
Oh, boy, speaking of caution, these two might bring out the caution together. Lane Sanders got really close to Alexa Lucian right there, but is going to have a shot at retaking the lead here as in the preferred lane now on the very bottom of the track right there. Going to slide up, maybe. Yes, plenty of room right there for Lane Sanders to reclaim the lead over Alexa Lucian. We'll see what that 50 car does in response, but now Lane Sanders has taken the lead back after a while that Alexa Lucian was able to hang out front in the clean yet still dirty air that the leader has access to. So we'll see what happens now, but Stanley Andrews continues to just lurk in third place. It's going to come down to these 3 and probably an epic battle in the final laps between the 3 of them to see who takes it.
Yeah, unless Matt Johnson puts on a Herculean charge to get up here, I think you're right. They were almost 3 wide for the lead off of 2. Here comes Alexa Lucian back at it again. Lane Sanders doing everything he can to hold off the hard-charging Lucian and Andrews. I think Lucian's just biding her time, waiting for those final few laps, because at this point in time, they don't pay out the big bucks at this point. They pay them out at the end of lap 100. That's what Lucian is focused on. Just keep the 87 in sight, wait to strike.
Yeah, well, here comes Stanley Andrews on the bottom of Alexa Lucian. Is going to have a shot at going into this corner side by side. It looks like it's not going to happen this time, however. So, yeah, these 3 are really tight with each other. And I'll tell you, if they start getting into it and rubbing, I would say rubbing fenders, but it's really, there aren't fenders, rubbing wheels and sheet metal between the 3 of them, I wouldn't count out these guys who we're watching right now battle. Mac Johnson came in from in that number 55 car, came in from starting position 15 down there right with Alexa Lucian, and it's definitely somebody to be contended with. So if they are able to catch, there could be some fireworks towards the front here at the end of this race. But right now, the battle is between the top 3. Alexa Lucian still trying to get back by Lane Sanders.
We've got less than 20 to go now, and it's all the gloves are off. This is a hard-fought battle for the win, and any one of these 3 will have earned it at the end of 100 laps, but we're still only on lap 83. Got about 15 more to go, and Lane Sanders is doing everything in his power to hold on. These might be more pressure-filled laps than Lane Sanders may have even had during his Daytona win all those years ago.
Yeah, I definitely agree. This is absolutely intense, and you can watch them drive through the corners. They're all running a slightly different line. Lane Sanders is up the track a little bit, but enters a little lower, and then it's the same with Alexa Lucian and them, but a little bit lower each time. So just giving themselves enough room to work, and we'll see. Maybe Alexa Lucian gets side by side here. There's some contact. Is it going to be enough for Alexa Lucian to get side by side out the straightaway with the 87? It looks like it will be enough. So now Lucian is going to have a shot to take the lead, try to clear it through this corner over Lane Sanders. Let's see what happens. It looks like Lucian's going to get it, is clear up to the top, and then takes the lead. So the 50 is back on top, and now Lane Sanders is the one who's going to have to make the move with just a few laps to go. We're nearly down to 10 laps to go, a little bit more. But right now, Alexa Lucian is out front.
But did Lucian make her move too early is the question. We still have 13 laps to go, and that's plenty of time for Lane Sanders to make a run at it again. So, and don't look now, but here comes Mac Johnson and Josh Gibson. They're making their way up to the front in the 55 and 46. This could be a 5-car battle for the win if they're not careful. 11, 12 laps to go. We're losing count. This race has been so enthralling, but Lucian is doing her best to hold on.
Well, something that we've been watching, and the story has been developing for this entire race, but these two up front are going to make contact with each other. We've seen it almost every time that they've been passing each other. There's contact out of the corner, and I'm not sure what that is. Maybe the first time it happened, they decided that was how it's going to be between these two, and I don't expect it to stop now, especially that we're closing in the laps of this race. But I would expect that 87 to go up there, make a little bit of contact, and try to reclaim the lead. And it could be too much. It could cause a crash. That would be absolutely incredible if it did happen. But now Lane Sanders and there's the contact right there down the straightaway. They keep it straight. And now the 87 is down low. Lane Sanders is going to have a shot to take the lead, and he nearly got it right there. He's going to definitely get it in this corner on a slider. Goes up, down into the corner, and then up in front of Alexa Lucian, who is now in second place. So now it's in Alexa Lucian's hands. What will happen? Who is going to take home the checkered flag tonight here at Oswego in the One-Up Winter Classic? This is absolutely stellar racing.
We're down to the final 8 laps now, and it looks like Lane Sanders has got this, but then again, you can't say anything about the outcome of this race. We've had races here come down to the final corner before. So you never say never, and there's Josh Gibson making a move on Mac Johnson. That's for the 4th spot. Gibson now up to 4th. We'll see what he can do from there. And he might even catch Stanley Andrews at this rate. But the 2 up front with 6 laps to go have been dicing it out for the entire race. And here comes Lucian trying to get it back.
Lucian is definitely going to have a shot, I believe, and it could come right here down to the bottom lane. Sliding up, no contact this time, but now Alexa Lucian is on the bottom lane. Gonna enter low, stay low in the middle of the track, and the 87 of Lane Sanders has nothing he can do. He's stuck on the outside lanes, so Alexa Lucian is gonna have the lead. Coming out of this corner, Lane Sanders has fallen more than a car length behind at this point. Gets that momentum out of the corner, and now we're on lap 97. Is there enough time for Lane Sanders to get back up there, and Josh Gibson going for 3rd place? Can he say anything about it?
We're coming to 3 laps to go in this race, and anything's still possible at this rate. Alexa Lucian trying to win for the first time on dirt. Lane Sanders trying to win for the first time in 2 years. Josh Gibson, Stanley Andrews, Matt Johnson, they're all looking for their first wins of any kind. So these guys, these guys are all in prime contention. The top 5 could throw a blanket over them. Now we've got 2 laps to go.
Man, oh man, and we always talk about one-up racing action, the heart-pounding action that we get. And here it is. This is it right here. The final few laps of the A main, and it is tight. It is close. Who is going to win it? I couldn't even tell you, because they're going to be side by side almost out of that corner. It's the white flag in the air. One more time. Who's going to get it?
It's the A main. It's the big show. Lane Sanders is going to have one more chance to dive it off in the turn 3. Lucian's going to go high. If Sanders crosses her low, it might be worth it. Coming into a drag race down to the start-finish line, but it's not enough. And Lucian takes the A main by 8/100ths of a second over Lane Sanders. Josh Gibson comes home 3rd. A come-from-behind performance from him. Stanley Andrews 4th. And Mac Johnson brings it home 5th. A great run for the 55 bunch. Ricky Freeman Jr. 6th. Austin Zorgan from the back to the front. The B main winner comes home 7th. Ahead of Jeff Bolton, the outside pole sitter, the Russian Rocket Bortnik, and Kodiak Keene rounding out the top 10. We've had an absolute blast with this Winter Classic, and you need look no further than this to see why.
Yeah, that was just an absolutely amazing race. My goodness, the 87 of Lane Sanders and the 50 of Alexa Lucian put on a stellar show for that entire race. I'm sure that they're gonna have a great laugh about that at some point. But yeah, that is just a fantastic race. The whole way they were beating and banging the whole time, trading the lead. Neither of them had a clear advantage on the other. And Alexa Lucian came out on top, made the move at the right time, and played great defense in the final few laps. Wow, what a race! What a set of races! What a week! And it has been absolutely fantastic. The first ever Winter Classic that we've had did not disappoint.
So from Duke Ainsack and from myself as well, we say goodbye for now, but we'll be back again next month for Speed Weeks, starting off with the shootout in Tokyo before going across back to Daytona where it all started to get the Daytona 500 Speed Weeks underway. So we'll see you guys then. What an absolute blast this Winter Classic has been, and a big congratulations to Alexa Lushon who had to earn it the hard way. She is your inaugural one-up Winter Classic champion.